welcome to Radio Free CSU, the official podcast of the California Faculty Association. My name is Audrina Redmond, and I'm your host for this 10-part series, Stronger Together, here on Radio Free CSU. This series is inspired by the intentional anti-racism and social justice transformation CFA began in late 2016.
Why are we doing this? Who pushed this? Where does it come from? It comes from our soul. It comes from our need to be fair and equitable and just with other people. But it started because several of us in this union recognized that we had to do something to interject ourselves and our values into a society that seemed to be going out of control. With Confederate flags flying all over and people embracing that as a cultural norm, or some kind of a statement about white culture. People going to other people's churches and murdering them. These were reasons why we had to start looking at what was going on in our own union. My wife used to say to me, I listen to what you say, but then I look at your feet. And when I listened to what we were saying and looked at our feet, it didn't seem to be the same. We were saying good things, but we weren't doing very much.
Is taking on this initiative the union's responsibility? And, what do you think the average member might think of this effort?
Well, I think members should know that this is a big project. It's the biggest project. It's the project. And CFA is committed to it for the long haul. It's important. So I think you can expect to hear more about it on your campuses and in your CFA chapters in the very near future. To answer your first question, yes, it is the union's responsibility. And I think it's each and every person's responsibility. And I don't want that to come off as it's everyone's responsibility, so no one's actually going to take responsibility for it. But really, to a person, this is the responsibility of everyone in the United States. In the United States, we've done an absolutely terrible job of coming to grips with our history, and that involves the genocide of Native Americans and the slavery and murder of black people, the deep xenophobia that has ruined immigrants' lives, and our colonial history. And I think a lot of white people can't even say words like that out loud, much less acknowledge their reality. And I think the harder lesson is to acknowledge that we're not just talking about the past. All of those things are alive and present in the future. Our history is our present. These things are happening right now. So from the military response to the water protectors, the prison industrial complex, and those mission projects that little kids make in California in 4th grade. I'm not a native Californian. This whole thing came as a surprise to me. I find it bizarre how many Californians defend the making of dioramas of people's suffering as a good elementary school age project. It baffles me. But I think that we are doomed to repeat our history. It is going to be the eternal recurrence of the same until we liberate ourselves from it, or at least try to. I am still learning and growing through this work, and I am very grateful to be able to do it with my union siblings. And I'm doing it for my colleagues and my union and for the good of all society and all that really grand stuff. But I'm also doing this for myself. I'm doing this for my own personal growth. And what I've learned so far, the little bit I've learned, is that anytime I'm not looking through a lens that sees race, that I'm lying to myself. And I've been socialized to lie to myself as a white person, because that's how it works. In my History of Virginia textbook, I read that slavery really wasn't that bad, and that the Civil War was really about states' rights and not about slavery much at all. Historically, unions haven't been so great at this. They've often repeated the patterns of exclusion that their elite bosses have established, and unions haven't always been at the forefront of justice, any kind of justice, racial justice, gender justice, environmental justice. But CFA has its sight on being part of the new labor movement that doesn't make that same mistake.